Et ils n'ont jamais fait ça. C'est la seule compétition dans le monde où ils passent au milieu du public. Allez, applaudissez-les, ils sont derrière moi, dans l'ordre. La jeunesse, les anciens, les meilleurs mondiaux. Ah madame, vous devriez les toucher, hein, comme ça les cuisses, vous voyez la fermeté de leur corps puissant, incroyable. Survitaminé. Oh ben on est bien là au milieu de vous, il y a du monde, hein. Levez les bras pour voir tout le monde. Levez tous les bras. On a eu beaucoup plus de facilité à passer tout à l'heure avec les filles. Là on voit que ça commence à être beaucoup plus dense. Oh lui, et t'as vu, il ramasse les petits sièges. Non, il est très très bien. Allez, vous les applaudissez dès qu'ils passent près de vous, les enfants, vous les touchez. Ils vont faire cette finale et tenter de remporter le titre de vainqueur de la première Coupe du Monde de la saison. On a des légendes, hein, des gars qui ont été plusieurs fois champions du monde, les vainqueurs de l'année dernière, Sachi AMMA et le dernier grimpeur a fermé cette grande équipe de 8. Moi, j'avais envie de passer là, moi. Allez. Allez, on nous suit avec la poursuite. On y arrive. On arrive sur le côté gauche du mur. Ensuite, ils nous rejoignent sur l'estrade et je vous les présente un par un. On remet ça avec les garçons. Là, c'est le moment de prendre des photos. Hein. Manu Romain, lève les bras, Manu Romain. Allez, messieurs, dames, ils me suivent, ils m'enchaînent. Dès que vous les voyez sur scène, vous leur faites une ovation, s'il vous plaît. Les 8 finalistes de ce soir, la jeunesse et les anciens qui vont se battre et rivaliser sur une voie survitaminée. Et allez, Briançon, on leur fait une ovation, s'il vous plaît. On a laissé place tout à l'heure à la sensualité, maintenant c'est le muscle qui va parler. Et l'ancienneté est opposée à la jeunesse ce soir. On va commencer avec le premier à vous présenter. Ils ont parié il y a 3 ans sur la jeune équipe allemande. Ils ont mis énormément de jeunes grimpeurs. Ça commence à être pari gagné. Il fait sa finale ce soir. Il a plusieurs finales de Coupe du Monde à son actif. He's young, he's from Germany. The first man in final tonight, Thomas Tauporn. Lui, il a déjà été champion du monde, il est très fort en diff, il est très fort aussi en vitesse, ils ont constitué une superbe équipe. Il sera le seul à représenter son pays. Squadra Azzurra Italia, applaudissements pour Stefano Ghisolfi l'Italien. Plusieurs fois médaillé en Coupe d'Europe, il est junior, il a énormément de talent, il adore grimper ici à Briançon. Il est slovène, Mr. Domen Skofic Jr. Le prochain, messieurs, dames, il a été multiples fois champion du monde, vainqueur du classement général de la Coupe du Monde. Il a gagné plusieurs fois ici à Briançon, vous le connaissez très très bien. Il frappe pour l'équipe espagnole, applaudissements pour la légende Ramon Julian Puigblanque. On y va pour le premier de nos membres de l'équipe de France qui va tenter le podium ce soir. Applaudissements pour celui qui a fait plusieurs podiums en 2011 en Coupe du Monde, plusieurs finales aussi à son actif. Monsieur Super Gautier pour la France. Il est champion d'Europe de bloc en titre. Il défendra son titre à Eindhoven bientôt. Il a été champion d'Europe au combiné. Il est capable de gagner des podiums en diff. En bloc, ça fait pas mal de temps qu'on ne l'avait pas vu dans ce genre de compétition ici en France. Il frappe pour la Suisse. Applaudissements pour l'incroyable Cédric Lachat. Là, ça va faire beaucoup de bruit. Il avait terminé deuxième ici il y a 2 ans. Membre de l'équipe de France. Podium en 2011 en Coupe du Monde. Applaudissements pour la légende de Briançon, Manuel Romain. Et mesdames et messieurs, le dernier, il avait fait plusieurs podiums dans sa carrière, mais il n'avait jamais remporté de Coupe du Monde avant la saison dernière. Chamonix, il gagne l'année dernière. Ici, il a gagné à Briançon. Il a enchaîné les 2 étapes qui ont suivi. Il a terminé numéro 1 du classement mondial. C'est une machine. Il vient du Japon. Applaudissements, s'il vous plaît, pour le numéro 1 mondial, Sachi AMMA. Allez, Briançon, ovation pour les garçons, s'il vous plaît, tout le monde. Allez, on y va. C'est parti pour l'observation de la voie.
So now our athletes, just like we saw with the women's a little bit earlier, have their moment to observe the wall. Okay, bets are on then. Which pair are going to pair up? Who's going to be with who? Who's going to be chatting?
The French will be together. I think Cedric might stick by himself. You see Ramon.
Do you not think he's learned from last week in Chamonix?
From last week, you might have to make sure he's reading the right route. You can see Thomas Tauporn is talking to Ramon.
Interesting to see Manu on his own as well. Manu's very sociable as a person in general, so it's interesting to see him taking a moment to...
I think normally when you read a route, you read it by yourself first, and then you start to group together and swap sequences.
Do you think that there might also be quite a lot of pressure? There you are, Domen's just gone up alongside him, but do you think there must be a huge amount, a massive amount of pressure on Manu, because this really is home turf, as you said earlier, you know, he lives here.
Hometown, he's got all his friends and family behind him, but yeah, I think he'd be used to having a home crowd. I think it will really spur him on, hopefully. And Gautier as well, he has a lot of friends here in the crowd today.
Now I know that Ramon speaks no English at all, really. I mean, very basic hello, how are you kind of thing, but every time I've interviewed Ramon, I've had to have a translator with me to do so, but here with Stefano Ghisolfi, I mean, they do look like they're saying something to each other.
Yep.
But,
or maybe just doing the climb mime. Yeah, I think Italian and Spanish might be similar.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe a couple of words passing over.
Yeah.
So while these guys are down on the floor having a look at this, let's have a brief look at what it is that they're looking at. If we take you over to the wall from one of our angles, you can see there it is. We're going to take you from hold number 21. And it's obviously the one on the right-hand side. We saw the women's on the one on the left a little bit earlier. Sparse again, in terms of volumes, much less than on the women's. And there it is, you can see just starting off there from the bottom part of the roof section, over to the lip, 26 and 27 around. There's quite a few actually around that volume, just above the lip there. A really interesting finish, I think, here. We're going to see some really interesting moves around this sort of rhino horn at the top of the wall.
It looks very technical. It looks, again, like they've swapped the routes around from the semis for the men's and women's. The men were on the volumes in the semi-finals, and now the women, the women have taken over that route.
So 52 is the top. It says 51 there. It's that one, and then another one to top. 52 holds all in all. And as before, we'll be chatting to Jan, the chief route setter, a little bit later on. Now you're saying it looks really technical.
Yep.
It does the similar sort of higgledy-piggledy thing that we saw in the women's. They're obviously trying to put a few more holds on here to try and make it a longer route.
Yep, it's meandering, it's going from left to right. There's a lot of moves, 52 moves is a lot of moves for a route. These guys have got phenomenal endurance though.
They've also climbed a route at roughly this level earlier on today in the semi-final, so this will be the second time for them.
Yeah, but I think that semi-final route, they might be quite tired after that. Normally the semi-final routes are set at a level of difficulty a bit higher than the finals, just to make sure they're split.
That's what they were doing. They're doing a puppet show. I thought it was something. It's not, is it? It's the puppet show.
Yeah.
See the shadow puppets on the wall there. The athletes down on the ground. It has officially got dark now. Guys are getting all the laser show that the women missed out on earlier. Crowd is still huge here, still absolutely packed. Thousands of people in the square, and you said they were capping it at 9,000.
9,000, yeah.
And that's the expected turnout here. It's definitely up into the multiple thousands. Stretched all the way back in the square. We're in this old army compound complex. This huge square in the middle. So Domen then, this is his second final. He did exceptionally well in Atlanta last year to get through into his first, but again another one of those athletes that's just starting to emerge onto the senior circuit. Seems to be the talk of this competition. You and me keep going back to the idea that we're getting these younger athletes really pushing their ways into the senior.
Yeah, Domen, he's part of a really strong Slovenian team. Really young, but got lots of experience already from the youth competitions.
In terms of previous results for Domen Skofic, of his top 12 best results, only one of them is a second. All other 11 are gold medals.
That's impressive.
On the male youth A lead and boulder, and the male juniors lead and boulder as well. He is the current European youth champion from Grindelwald in Switzerland this year on the male juniors boulder. He is also the current youth champion of lead climbing in the juniors category from Zemozak last year. He's definitely one to watch out for. The route setters have already said to both of them actually, both Adam and Jan have said that Domen is one of the ones they've got their eye on through this competition. Could be surprising them, like we saw from Dimitri earlier on. There you can see that crowd. All right, now I believe you. There's got to be at least 9,000 people down
yeah,
there.
for sure. You can see some people are recognizing.
So, belay is getting ready then. We get ready to welcome our first athlete out into the fray, and that is Thomas Tauporn of Germany, the lowest to qualify for the finals with a 31 plus in the semi-finals earlier on today. Thomas Tauporn then, podiums during the bouldering season, big ones for him with Log Dragomer last year. He's only 22 years old, he's from Shenzhen. Frequently starting to make well, when he's there, he makes finals usually. I mean, he's kind of a hit and miss with turning up.
He's not always present at the competitions. He seems to be quite selective in which ones he chooses to do. Not quite sure why that is, but yeah, when he turns up, he certainly doesn't disappoint.
That is a crowd.
Yeah.
Full of exciting, happy people.
9,000 people.
So yes, Domen's previous results, looking at 2012, last year, 7th place at Chamonix in the lead, 8th place in Imst at the lead as well. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm referring to Domen then. I'm still in Domen mode. Let me talk about Thomas for a moment. As you say, when he turns up, he tends to make finals. I'll stop contradicting myself and I'll go through that again. So yes, 7th place at Chamonix last year, 8th place at Imst in 2012, 4th at Kitzbühel just recently on the bouldering circuit, 6th at Log Dragomer this year at the bouldering circuit, took a bronze medal last year in Log Dragomer 2012. Stylistically, do we think he prefers bouldering or do we think he's more of a lead climber?
It's hard to say. Again, he was always in the youth comps. He used to be called Shorty because he was so small, but he's certainly not that small anymore.
I still call him Shorty.
Yeah.
Am I using an out of
yeah,
date nickname?
I think he's still called Shorty, but doesn't really fit him so much anymore. But yeah, I think he's a really good all-rounder. Again, he's quite a fast climber, doesn't hang around too much, quite decisive in his movement.
Climbing to chariots of fire. You couldn't ask for more dramatic music to climb to, really, could you?
Good atmosphere.
So from what you can see here, Nat, and what he's doing at the start of this route, talk us through this route and what you're thinking about it so far.
very small holds. Looks very similar to the women's route from the semis. Just looks very sustained, keeps coming. There's a few moves at the top which look tricky on pockets, like small dish holds. I think they were on my second route in the qualifiers. They're not quite as good as they look. So I think that might cause a few problems for the guys right at the top of the wall.
Thomas, German junior champion in 2006. He's been German junior champion 5 times before. Climbs all 3 disciplines and started in 1999. He's been competition climbing since 2004.
Yep, he's pretty much a veteran of the comp circuit now. Still very young, I think he's only 22. This volume section looks quite tricky, looks like a repeat of the women's move.
So very quick up to the lip here. He's not used much of his time at all.
Yep, can't spend too long in that steep section.
The midges on the wall there, can you see them on the HD? That could be quite frustrating if you got a scratch a little bit further up. Absolutely crawling with bugs now that it's got late here, and obviously the light on the wall is going to be attracting things. What an unusual obstacle. I've never noticed bugs before.
It's like Scotland.
Really?
Midges.
Well, there doesn't seem to be too much of a problem for him here at the moment. This next move, though,
I think he needed to cross through with his right hand.
Yeah, you could see with the left hand where it got that there. It was a bit shaky, and it was just enough, but there was nowhere really. He was using every pocket on that hold. There was nowhere really for him to send a hand and match and swap over. He's going to need to reach through. We're going to have to see a cross through there, I think.
I think he just tried to go for that next hold in vain, really. He was tired.
It's not a bad start, though, to the competition. Up above the lip. Around the 32nd hold. So Thomas now sets the high point for the rest of the competition. And we get ready for our next athlete, Stefano Ghisolfi, who's the young gentleman we saw having the long conversation with Ramon in climb mime just before we began. 32 plus was his score in the semi-finals earlier today. He's only 20 years old, from Torino. He's world ranked 12th. And his high points, a bronze medal at Zinning last year, 2012, on the senior circuit. Made finals here in Briançon last year, though. Ended up in 6th place. And he's still competing in the youth category as well. So we've got another one that's just coming out of the youth category.
Yep, all through when I was competing as a junior, Stefano was making podiums or winning. His sister was also competing in the women's category.
We saw Claudia earlier today. So if you were on the youth circuit with Stefano, you've obviously seen him climb multiple times.
Yeah.
I know that he does a bit of speed, he does a bit of bouldering, he does a bit of lead, but in terms of style as a climber, who would you compare him to the more well-known lead athletes?
He's very dynamic, so I guess he could be kind of like Ramon, although I think Ramon is pretty exceptional in his strength and dynamism. I think, yeah, he moves quite quickly. He's pretty similar to Thomas Tauporn. Just picks a method, goes with it, no hanging around. Yeah, he's all 3 disciplines. The Italian team's got a very strong speed team. He's also done a lot of hard boulder repeats outdoors on rock.
What about this then, with the edge of the banana that we're looking at here?
The banana volume.
This section just before the roof looks a little bit
teetery.
Shaky.
Yeah.
Not that Stefano does, but it does look like there's a possibility there that unless you are concentrating from that early on, you could find yourself in for a surprise.
Yeah, so it's all about balance and body position on that lower section.
It's interesting to see when changing just a few holds how the difficulty of manoeuvring those two volumes has changed from the women's semi-finals into the men's finals.
Taken some footholds off. You'll see a lot more footholds on a women's route than the guys.
Well, you're allowed to use that upper dell as well now for your feet, whereas earlier that wasn't really a position to be in. There's the view from above. Welcome if you are joining us. We are here at the men's final for the IFSC's first Lead World Cup of 2013 here in Briançon in France. My name is Daniel Finn and I'm being joined by Natalie Berry. Any questions you might have you can direct in at us on the Twitter using hashtag IFSCWC.
Managed to hold the hold that Thomas was slapping for.
So lower down than we saw Thomas get to. No? Have I just missed a move? That looked like
he
it was one
managed to
before.
hold the hold that Thomas was slapping for.
Oh yes, 33. We have a new high point. I do apologise. That looked like it was one before that point there. Nat's on it at least. At least you're with us. But it was the next move after we saw Tauporn get to. So a new high point, but started to shake quite quickly, quite suddenly there after the lip.
I think he managed to recover a little bit before making those last few moves on the head wall, but yep, I think that route really throws you in at the deep end.
So you said technical when we first started. The lower section of the wall, what are you making of that? And then where do you think that the real tough points are going to start to emerge on this wall?
Yeah, I think the bits where Thomas and...
Where we've seen the falls.
Yeah, the bits we've seen with Stefano and Thomas where they've got to, with those pockets, I think that's the section which is really going to test the guys. Traverse out left on really poor holds after you've already done about 30 moves.
Well, this is the young man that we were talking about a little bit earlier, Domen Skofic for Slovenia. Started to make a name for himself last year, getting through into the finals in Atlanta and doing quite well there. Here he is now, starting to climb, a very, very young athlete, just moving up from the juniors into the seniors. Qualified 6th earlier today with a score of 32 plus. Is now after Stefano Ghisolfi, who had the same score but has qualified higher, Domen has, due to having a better score in the qualification. So we're working from count back in terms of order of our athletes out here. He's only 19 years old, Domen, from, as are a lot of the Slovenian team, Ljubljana. He's world ranked 16th already.
Domen bearing down on those crimps. Domen taking a bit more time on this section.
Looking controlled, steady.
Yep, he's making each move confidently, slowly but surely. not taking any risks.
When you say that, it's kind of like a slow intensity though, because he's moving relatively fast here. I mean, looking at our clock from when he began, he's already up to the roof section with, in less than 2 minutes. But it is, I do agree with you, there is a sort of like controlled pace. There's like a controlled pace to it, and it is.
Yeah. He's got a good rest there. Kind of knee bar, heel hook. Trying to take as much weight off his arms as possible.
It's interesting that we were seeing this here now from Domen, and we haven't really seen this from any of the previous climbers. They haven't used this point with the heel hook to rest.
Yeah, I think this could be a crucial rest for Domen. He's found something that none of the other climbers have. Might give him an advantage higher up.
Okay, so here he goes again.
It's interesting how he keeps his arms quite bent even when he's relaxing. He's so strong.
Do you think that is a strength thing, or do you think maybe he's just got short attendance and that's like a natural way of resting for him?
Maybe. Yeah, normally you'd feel more comfortable like stretching your arms, elongating them a bit. Yeah. He's chicken winging. His elbows are sticking out, he looks a bit tired.
So they've just picked up the music for him and the crowd started to give him a bit of support, noticing that from the point that he's out of the wall. And this next move is the crucial move for him then.
Yep, seems to have found a kind of rest. He's doing the splits. Managed to get that clip in, which I think has saved him a lot of energy. Wow.
A little bit shaky here.
Really has to get his body into the wall. Static up.
Just a little bit awkward for him there. A new high point though.
Yep.
Next couple of moves past what we saw a moment ago.
Yep. I think he climbed that really well, found some rest that the other climbers missed.
So, going back to our list of athletes and who we are about to witness here, we have Ramon coming out for us. World ranked number 3, Ramon Julian Puigblanque will be next out at 31 years old from Manilu. Second at Chamonix, just recently taking the silver medal, but he has won that twice before at the European Championships, 2 times European champion, 2 times world champion. Also took a gold last year at Inzai. Made finals at nearly every event that he participated in. Took a gold at Atlanta and at Purs as well last year, Ramon. He did have those few couple of random falls last year though, the ones that we were just not expecting at all. Yeah. The World Championships was a big one for him. And he's, another thing we were saying about Ramon earlier, he's definitely one to use the rests. Yeah. And if we were saying he's kind of a defensive climber, he's not an attacking climber. If he feels at risk at all, he'll take time to, well, I don't know whether it's waste energy or get a bit of
he
perch.
Definitely, he has you on tenterhooks. He decides to go for something, then goes back down, tries again, goes back down. If he doesn't like something, yep, he changes his method, doesn't want to take a risk.
Ramon qualifying for the finals in 5th place with a score of 33 plus earlier today. 4 other athletes to come out after Ramon. Well, I'm gonna I'm going to challenge Nat in the co-coming seat now to have a bit of a conversation with Jan from what she's seen earlier. Our chief route setter Jan is here to talk you through what we're seeing here as Ramon is climbing up on the wall. I'm going to hand you over to Nat and Jan.
Hi Jan.
Hello.
What do you think of the finals so far?
So far it's going great. They are climbing really nicely. They don't make mistakes climbing above the lip, and then it's really hard. So hopefully they will just climb higher and higher, and hopefully we see at least one guy on the top.
What grade do you think this route would be?
We are thinking it's around 8C.
Okay, so slightly harder than the semi-final route.
I won't say it's slightly harder. It's different style. It starts much earlier.
Yep.
So already where Ramon is right now, it's 8B plus. The semi-final was a little bit different. It started easier and then got harder and harder, and it was around 8C or hard 8C near the top. This climb starts much sooner, and the moves are maybe not as hard, but it's many more hard moves over there.
And what were you thinking in the top section with some of the holds there? They look quite bad. What do you think will happen in those last few sequences?
Well, I hope it will challenge the guys. We were trying to make it straight forward on the little holds pockets, so they don't have the chance to stop and choke up. They just have to go for it, and hopefully it will be good show for public, similar to female semi-final or final.
Okay.
So are you saying that you've taken away as many rest points as you can on the wall on this one? You're not expecting them to find too many points where they're able to rest past the lip?
Well, there are actually two spots to rest above the lip, just to make sure that you know, the guys won't fall on one spot. But yeah, from the point where Ramon is now, it's maybe 6 or 7 really hard moves on little crimson pockets up to the first rest, and I think many guys will have find problems in this section because they get a little bit pumped in the beginning of the climb, and now you can see how much strength do you have on the crimp. If they don't have enough, they basically fall off.
Jan, thank you for coming and talking to us. Thank you for a phenomenal female final as well, a perfect setup for you with the one top that you wanted. Are you pleased with how the competition's run in all?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, we really enjoyed watching the finals. We were super nervous, but yeah, I was here with you when Jan came top the climb, and yeah, it was awesome. The organizers were happy, and we were super excited.
Jan, thank you for being with us. Thank you for coming to talk.
No problem.
That was Jan Zgronek, chief route setter here, and talking us through a point that has just happened. Ramon pushing into a brand new high point on the wall and still looking strong here.
Yep, he bypassed that move that Thomas was struggling on. He looks very strong on these pockets. He's renowned for his static strength, one armors, doing campus moves.
And after just missing out on regaining a title, or sorry, maintaining his title in the European Championships, coming second, taking the silver instead of the gold home on French soil. He could be a bit hungry here to make a bit of a comeback at Briançon.
Yep, especially with Ramon Desgrange out of the picture. I think he'll be pretty psyched to get at the top.
This is one of the cases that defensive style of climbing could actually come in handy, the sort of relaxing, making sure that you have to stop at certain points as opposed to pushing ahead.
Yep, he's going to read the top sequence and make sure he knows what he's doing. He's not going to rush it. Right. He's off.
These sort of pinch holds at the top here are a little bit brutal by the looks of things.
Tiny cribs.
The angle that the wall is on as well, there's not much there for it at all, but this is Ramon Julian Puigblanque pushing his way towards the top of the wall here. 3 or 4 moves away from a top. This could be an interesting point here, this crossing procedure before he gets up onto the rhino horn in a few moments' time. Even on the horn here, there's not much to go on.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any holds over the top of the horn.
it's looking like you have to get one with the right and then go immediately out with the left for the one on the other side. To
yeah,
hold that.
and
Either
then
that or you're
clip the
hugging it.
chains. Yeah.
Because of the angle that it's at, it doesn't look like you can go with the left and turn. You just. It doesn't look like you can go with the left and go round
Yeah,
underneath
have to
with
go
the
round
right.
and then somehow maybe wrap your legs around and clip the chains. Looks like it could be a heartbreaker for a last move.
So Ramon gives us our new high point on the wall. Only 2 or 3 moves away from the top. And we still have 4 athletes still to go. We have Gautier Supper, Cedric Lachat, Manuel Romain and Sachi AMMA. That's a very dynamic finish. How do you think Sachi's going to get on with that?
I think Sachi is renowned for being very static in his style. So yeah, he could find it tricky, but equally you have to be quite cautious on that move, so it could suit him. I think it would definitely be an interesting move to watch.
Well, what about Gautier then, who's coming out for us now? Your own personal experience of him being in France? And
yeah, I've seen him through all the youth comps and through all the Coupe de France, like all the national French competitions. He's very gutsy, always gives a good performance, especially in front of a home crowd, so I know he'll be gunning to give a good show tonight. I know he's got a lot of friends from Chambéry watching him. He's very dynamic. He's also got a lot of endurance in the bag.
Gautier in his first final since 2011 on the lead World Cup circuit. He came 7th at Cran and Amman in 2011, 8th in Purs. Best results for him though, way back in 2010 on the IFSC senior circuit. He took a bronze medal at Zinning in 2010. Came 10th just recently at the European Championships. Could this be a comeback? Do we think this is him starting to push back onto the finalist lists?
Yeah, he's not a stranger to making finals in the past, but I think he's had a bit of a break from competing. I think he's been focusing on his studies quite a lot, and yeah, he looks to be coming back on good form. In Chamonix, he was so close to making finals, but I think he'll be pretty happy to have made finals here tonight.
Just 22 years old, world ranked 24th. We were talking a bit about his style earlier during the semi-finals as well. Who are we comparing him to?
Yeah, he can be a bit gung-ho. He can sometimes go for things without being fully in balance, but it seems to work out well for him. On this route, he seems to be taking his time a little bit more. I think I'd compare him maybe again to Thomas Tauporn. He's maybe a bit more controlled than Thomas.
There's going to be a massive amount of pressure on him as well, just like there is one of our athletes that's about to come out a little bit later, Manuel Romain.
Yeah, the crowd will go wild for Manu, I know for sure.
So there is our new high point, 47 plus from Ramon Julian Puigblanque. Domen Skofic currently sitting in silver medal position, and Stefano Ghisolfi in the bronze. It looks like Gautier's found the heel hook as well here.
Yep. A lot of the French team are very good at finding rest. That's something you'll probably notice. You watch Charlotte Durid, you watch Hélène Janico, you watch the guys. Always good at finding places to stop and recompose themselves.
How's he looking here, Nat? Do you think this is a comfortable push forward now after that rest for him?
Yeah,
or do you think he's looking a little bit pumped?
Pretty smooth so far. He found the same rest that Domen found. got his clips all in order, no hanging around. It's interesting, he seems to hold the holds quite open-handed. Doesn't get his thumb around the holds.
Is there a benefit to that?
It can be slightly less intense. Like if you fully crimp your hand, it can waste a bit more energy. So he's quite relaxed on the holds, which is good. Starting to look a bit more fatigued here. Very good.
So these next 4 or 5 moves, then the ones that Jan was saying a few moments ago, the really tough crimps, and there, do you think that was just a little bit rushed?
I think so. I think he also looked quite tired. His shoulders, you can see his elbows coming up to like chicken winging, the technical term. Your elbows start to raise above, you're getting tired.
So Gautier Supper back down then, unfortunately not pushing up quite far enough. Still happy to be here and a smile to the crowd as he moves back behind the stage. So, of the remaining athletes that we have still yet to come, Cédric Lachat, Manuel Romain and Sachi AMMA, who is going to be our big challenger of Ramon?
I think Cedric could put on a good show, I think.
That's an interesting choice. How come you've gone for Lachat?
I think he's always surprising. Like, he can look like he's about to fall off, but he just fights his way up. He doesn't give up. He's a true fighter. He's got a lot of spirit, a lot of passion. And as long as he's read the route correctly, I think.
Would you just love it if he went over to the women's now for this one as well?
I think he's all right.
Well, he started better than Chamonix. He's on the men's route, so here we go. Cédric Lachat, 28 years old, from Porrentruy. 18th on the world rankings, 8th at the European Championship in Chamonix last week. Obviously, he had that reading problem that Nat's just joking around with. 4th place at the Bouldering World Cup in Logdragomere this year. 5th at Kitzbühel this year for the bouldering, and 8th at Miol. 2nd at Purs last year, 2012, on the lead climbing World Cup there for the IFSC, and that was his last medal. Do you know Cedric personally at all, Nat?
I don't. I've seen him at one of the bouldering walls in Grenoble when I was living there. He was training with Nina Caprez, but I've never really spoken to him.
Well, Cedric started climbing at 10 years old, back in 1994, followed his big brother into the sport, and an instructor called Carlos Sebastian taught him the basics in Porrentruy, Switzerland. Was invited to then join the Swiss national team. Where was it? What was that all about? At the age of 14, so he joined the national team for the Swiss at 14. Currently lives in Grenoble in France and competes in bouldering and speed as well. He won the European Championship in bouldering in 2010. In terms of gold medals on the lead on the World Cup Series, there was one in 2005 and one in 2007. But podiumed in lead climbing a total of 14 times between 2001 and 2012. So frequent finalist, frequent podiumist.
Podium maker.
Podiumist?
I don't know, you've invented a verb.
Podiumist, yes.
Down.
That's what he is. Well, he's now on the wall for us, just starting up on the roof section. There you can see the high points. And Nat, your money's on Cedric.
Yep, I think he's looking pretty good so far.
But this is what I mean about the style with Cedric. There's this sort of like
he doesn't look comfortable. But
hyperactivity from every move.
Keeps fighting. doesn't really care about climbing aesthetically. He just wants to get to the top.
But do you think that that's something that the, for example, Kim Jae-in and Gautier Supper, do you think that they take in the aesthetic, you know, and that's the reason they climb so gracefully, or is that a more natural thing?
I think so. I think it's maybe more natural for the girls to want to, I don't know, look like ballet dancers or gymnasts on the wall, but I think, yeah, I think it's just a style they've kind of naturally grown into. It's efficient, they know how to move the body weight, how to change the center of gravity.
Really pausing to shake out his hands there in between each one. It doesn't look like he's having too much of an issue with his forearms, it's more the hands.
Yeah, he's pumped, but those holds are so small that he really needs to shake out his fingers, because they also look quite sharp, the holds. Not particularly comfortable to hang around on for too long.
These next couple of moves are all important for Cedric. This is a big one as well, this next one.
Yep.
As is the one that follows this and gets you up into those slightly larger holes.
Yep, he's still going. Needs to get that clip.
Yeah, he's got to get that clip there. I don't think he's missed it, but he's going past it before he does.
Yeah.
Just slipping there.
Just missed that.
Not a bad effort though. I think that's going to be pushing him up into second perhaps.
Yep.
Behind Ramon.
It's a good effort. Just a shame he missed that clip. I think if he'd have got that in a bit earlier, he might have been able to push on a bit more confidently.
What it does mean though is that Ramon is now definitely taking home at least the bronze medal, because he's currently leading the pack. In first place, we have two more athletes yet to come, Manuel Romain and Sachi AMMA, still yet to come out for us and have their 8 minutes allotted time. Cedric smiling.
Yeah, he's quite a character. Wears his heart on his sleeve. You know when he's happy, you know when he's sad. He seems happy.
So Nat, from what we've seen of all of our athletes so far in the men's final, looking at this route, all in all, that point at the very top around the horn looks like it's going to be the thing that stops us from seeing a top, if anything.
Yeah.
We've seen quite a few of our athletes coming down just after the lip, around the move that brings them into the centre of the wall. From a female perspective, looking at this one and the technical side of the climbing, what do you think is the main problem?
I think the main problem for the men on this kind of route is the size of the holds. Because the men tend to have bigger fingers than the women, so those holds are a bit harder to hold, so maybe they're getting pumped a bit quicker.
So the crowd definitely picking up now. Everybody knows where this gentleman is from, and everybody is right behind him as he comes out here. Talk about pressure in front of a home crowd. Manuel Romain from Briançon here in front of his home crowd, about to have his time on the wall. Manu's quite the character as well, I think.
Yeah, he's very friendly, very sociable. Always happy to talk to other competitors, and yeah.
25 years old, as you said before. He's born here in Briançon, world rank number 11. Came fourth at Chamonix last week, and looking back into 2012, only one result. That was at Mokpo, where he came fourth. The year before that, 2011, Barcelona, he came fourth. Curse of fourth place, just missing out on the podium.
I think fourth is never a good position. You'd rather be fifth than fourth, I think.
He came second here at Briançon in 2011. That was a silver medal here. The last podium position for him was at Amman in Jordan in 2011, where he came third. but surely having this amount of support behind him is going to be enough to really force him in a way to up his game here at the final stage.
Yeah, we saw last week in Chamonix, Ramon who won in front of a home crowd. He was born in Chamonix. Maybe the same thing could happen here.
One last push, Manu. Again, very quick up to the roof.
Yep. Good, he's got his clipping sorted, a nice double clip, very efficient.
His sister, also a climber, she was here earlier on today. Unfortunately didn't make it through to the finals.
He's found a different way to rest, toe hooking that small hold on the other side.
Now, the main one is getting tired in the arms and getting pumped in the upper body, but do you find that it happens with your legs as well?
Yeah, normally if you're on a slab, so like an inclined piece of wall, like if you're standing on your feet, weighting your feet on very small holds, your calves can get really tired.
What about something like this, using heel hooks to rest or toe hooks to rest? The tension in the leg that you're keeping on there, can that affect you later on?
Sometimes, I mean, your legs are normally pretty strong, so unless you're hanging around for a long time, I think his legs should be fine. Takes a lot of weight off the arms, which is really, really useful.
Manu qualified in second place from the semi-finals with a score of 36 plus. Right at the top of the pack. Tiny, tiny, crimpy, pinched things here in the middle.
Yeah.
Before switching to a really wide spread out hand on the left. Very wide pinch before now having to cross underneath to take the next one. How's he looking here, Nat?
Good, very static, very strong. You can see he's starting to tire, but each move he's making very, very cautious. Ah.
Was that a slip foot?
Yeah, not cautiously enough. I think a commentator's curse.
Commentator's curse. Which I'm being told puts Manuel Romain in 4th place at the moment. Could it be the curse of 4th all over again for Manu? He's going to be disappointed with that, but the crowd still showing their support for him now that he's down at the bottom of the wall. Well, it all comes down then to Sachi. Now he pushed Ramon off the world rank #1 position and down a little bit there. Also Jakob Schubert moving up a little bit further, so we have Ramon now in 3rd place, Schubert in 2nd, and in 1st place we have Sachi AMMA. So he's managed to defeat 2 of the best lead climbers in the world after the season that he had last year.
Yep.
He took gold at Briançon here last year as well. Is Sachi going to be the one to do it, do we think?
I think he could. I think watching him in the semi-finals, this wall, the angles, the style of routes, the holds seem to really suit him. He's a very delicately built climber. He's got brilliant endurance. He's great on technical moves. He's not quite as dynamic as some of the other guys, but I don't think he'll be needing it too much on that head wall. Some quite static movements, needing to get his body right into the wall.
So do we think if there's a singular point that's going to affect him the most and cause him to come down, we would expect it to be around the horn with that more dynamic finishing up?
Quite a bouldery finish. It's something I'd imagine some of the boulderers would have a good go at tackling. I think, yeah, if you're used to volumes and strange moves.
This is Peter Pan, at the bottom of the wall, chasing his shadow.
Yep.
Now, Sachi getting ready here before he starts. It's looking like he's using a little bit more observation time. Have a little look at the top section of the wall and how he's going to attack that one. He'll know from hearing the sound as well from behind the wall. For yourself now, when you're in finals, semis, quals, well, semis when you're in isolation, I mean, how How much does it affect you as a climber when you? Are you one of the ones that just plugs in and tunes out? With
I don't.
music?
I quite like listening to the crowd, and it sometimes spurs you on. Sometimes it can unsettle you, but I think for me, I quite like hearing the crowd and knowing where I need to get to. But yeah, there's a lot of climbers who just put the headphones in and listen to music. They just want to blank it out.
It's a lot harder, I would imagine, to gauge where that point on the wall is for lead climbing than it is bouldering.
Yeah.
Bouldering, it seems to be kind of like a necessity for you to just kind of try and keep as much in the know as you can from hearing whether there's been a flash or anything on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, and everyone climbs at different paces. You know, the crowd cheers for different people in different ways, so it's not always accurate.
Sachi's coach ran up to me earlier. It's sort of like being mobbed. It was very sudden, just randomly in my face with a Sachi #1 and run off again. And I was like, okay, yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, he is. He's the world ranked #1. He's been leading the pack all the way through this one.
It's interesting, he's got his wrist strapped up in the same way as Akio.
Do we think that's an injury or something, or just a fashion statement?
Not sure. Yeah, I think he's probably got a slight pain in his wrist, just wants a bit of extra support.
So the interesting thing, we were talking about the tape earlier on the shoulders and things like that, adding a little bit of extra support, allowing you to just relax into the muscle a little bit too much, stop it from tensing up. Has no one ever thought before of just taping their entire body and coming out like some sort of zebra or something?
Maybe. So you can get different patterns of it as well. You can do quite funny things with it.
Because we're seeing it more and more, the athletes using it on shoulders, on like even further down the arms. I saw a couple of the youth climbers last year in Singapore who literally had both arms completely taped almost.
Yeah. Sachi's looking strong.
Again, you were mentioning his endurance here. He's now pushing up into the medals. Definitely now.
Oh, he needs to get that clip though. Can he reach it? Yep.
It looked like he's accounted for that as he's gone up and said that's a better position there for me to stop, reach back, make sure that I've got it before I push on.
He needs to not forget that clip at the left.
He's shaking out a little bit here, but he's still looking relatively comfortable, not too stressed. This is him in silver position now, second place, a silver medal here for Sachi AMMA. But it's Ramon that he's going to be gunning for. Wants to start his lead season off with a bang. Really taking his time to rest in that one. He's used less than 4 minutes at the moment, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think he's allowed a rest.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to recover.
Tension starts to build now. Sachi AMMA currently sitting in silver place position. Can he improve on that? Can he capitalize in these next few moves? Very focused even at this late stage on the wall.
Excellent.
We saw Ramon struggle a little bit with that left foot coming out on that move.
So Ramon's a little bit shorter.
Definitely not so. It's actually, look at the tiny pinch he's using there on the left. This is it. This is him pushing up towards it now.
You make it. Oh!
Just slipping. I believe that that's still putting him in silver. I think Ramon, didn't Ramon go one more move after that?
He grabbed that hold and then slapped around on the volume.
So close at the last as well, but
fireworks going off.
And world rank number 1 looks to have been pipped to the post at the first Lead World Cup of the year by Ramon, the world rank number 3 at the moment.
The route setters will be happy with that.
Well, ladies and gents, that is everybody here at the men's lead final of Briançon 2013. Sachi is still smiling. As always, down at the bottom of the wall, a standing ovation happening here from the French crowd gathered at the base of the wall. What incredible climbing from Ramon, though.
Yeah, he's... there's no words to describe Ramon. He's so strong.
Well, an incredible performance from him and also from Sachi and all of the male athletes here, but it's looking like that gold medal is going to Ramon. A few moments we'll have a little look at the results in the standing as they are at the moment and where the medals are. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the finals here at Briançon for the women's earlier on today, and the presentation of the CAC check to French Foundation for Cancer, and then on to the men's final. Getting ready for the podium presentation here now. They're just setting it up and putting it at the front of the wall before we welcome those athletes out for both the women's and the men's to collect their medals. After we close up here, not long to go. Now we have the podium still to come, obviously the presentation, but when we do finish up here, we have a 2-week break before Imst, and then also we move over to Saanich as well for the World Youth Championships. You want to get some excitement going around about that one. Hundreds of athletes, and we saw from Singapore last year those youth athletes now starting to push forward to the seniors. We've seen a couple of them here, Domen Skofic, and also in the women's as well, Magdalena Roek, Katharina Posch. So it's definitely worth tuning in for the World Youth Championships. If you want to get excited about that, you can use the hashtag on Twitter, WYCH2013. That's World Youth Championship 2013 with just the initials. It's the acronym for it, WYCH2013. So get involved in the chat about that one. And here they are then, our podium positions, our final standings as we have them at the moment. Bear in mind, it takes a little while after the competition's closed. Always have to remind you guys to make sure that the judges have all confirmed everything and that these are the final results. Ramon there, gold medal here for him. A good, strong start to the lead season. Sachi AMMA in second place with a 46+. Cedric Lachat with a 39+. Again, what a beautiful spread the route setters have given us here with the men's final results now.
Yeah, they'll be really proud of that. You know, managing to split them on a route, Ramon almost topping. They couldn't really have asked for much better. It would have been cool to
faire la fête ensemble là-bas du côté de la place du Parc. Je vous demande d'applaudir les médaillés chez les filles. Podium féminin de la Coupe du Monde de Briançon. Allez, un peu de musique, Charlie. On leur fait une ovation. Elles ont tout donné, elles ont été magnifiques sur ce mur de légende. 3e position de cette Coupe du Monde, première Coupe du Monde de la saison pour représenter la France. Elle a terminé 3e la semaine dernière sur les championnats d'Europe. Je vous demande d'applaudir à nouveau. 3e ce soir, Hélène Janico, France. Juliette Payet qui va nous rejoindre aussi, bien sûr, parce que, en plus, ça tombe bien, parce que c'est Juliette qui va remettre la médaille, notre vice-présidente, hein, qui va remettre la médaille à Hélène Janico. Bruno d'Aventure qui va remettre le trophée. Ah bah non, bah c'est... Mesdames et messieurs, applaudissements pour la 3e, s'il vous plaît. Hélène Janico, la Française. 2 podiums en ce début de saison. Second place and representing Slovenia, I would like a big applause for Mina Markovic. La médaille va être remise par le président de la Fédération française montagne escalade Pierre You et monsieur Éric Pétieux qui va remettre le trophée d'adjoint au sport de la ville de Briançon. Alors là, j'espère que vous allez vous lâcher et lui faire une ovation digne de la grimpe qu'elle vous a offert et proposé ce soir. First position and the winner for the first World Cup this season. She's from Korea. I would like a big applause for the winner, Kim Jae-in. Pour remettre la médaille, c'est notre président de l'international, Marcos Colaris, qui va remettre la médaille. Et monsieur le maire de Briançon qui remettra le trophée à notre championne coréenne. Et je voudrais encore un applaudissement tout spécial pour Kim Jae-in, s'il vous plaît. La coréenne qui a été magnifique, somptueuse sur cette voie. Please welcome the Korean national anthem. Big applause for Kim Jae-in, la vainqueur de la première étape de Coupe du Monde de la saison. Mina Markovic, 2 pour la Slovénie et Hélène Janico, bien sûr, 3e, 2 fois 3e cette saison. Thank you very much, ladies. Can you stay with us, please, there? Because after you go back on the podium with the men for the podium of station. Mesdames et messieurs, s'il vous plaît, je vous demande d'accueillir le podium masculin de la Coupe du Monde de Briançon. Alors attention, 3 Golgoths sont mis en avant sur ce podium incroyable de la Coupe du Monde. Après un retour de 2 ans d'absence en difficulté, il revient et il frappe pour la belle équipe suisse. 3e ce soir, applaudissements pour Cédric Lachat. C'est Juliette Payette, notre vice-présidente de la Fédération française montagne escalade, qui va remettre la médaille. Et Josiane Faure, la présidente de l'Association des internationaux, qui remettra le trophée à Cédric Lachat. Les Suisses, make some noise! Second place, we are very happy after an incredible season last year. Is second today for the first World Cup this season. Is from Japan. I would like a big applause for Mr. Sachi AMMA JPN. C'est le président de la Fédération française montagne escalade qui remet la médaille, Pierre You, accompagné pour les trophées de Monique Estachi, conseillère générale des Hautes-Alpes. España, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? The winner tonight of Briançon is from Spain. I would like a big applause for the legend, Mr. Ramon Julian Puigblanque. La médaille est remise par Marcos Colaris, président de l'IFFC, et monsieur Gérard Fromm, le maire de Briançon, qui remettra le trophée. Marco, Daniel, Irati, toute l'équipe. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Spain national anthem.
Well, they are welcoming on some of the other athletes. At this stage, I think they're welcoming all of the finalists onto the stage to do one final wave to the crowd. And appreciate a round of applause from the crowd that is left here to say goodnight to everybody on the stage, the athletes that competed in the finals here for our first IFSC World Cup final of 2013. What a way to kickstart our year then. Ramon back on top form. Sachi AMMA also there, but they're going to be racing for the rest of the year by the look of things. Also Mina Markovic, some of the younger athletes moving up through as well, but Kim Yain back on top form after a knee injury at the start of the year in Miol after the bouldering finals. We're going to see you in Imst in just 2 weeks' time. We'll see you shortly, but for now, good night from me and good night from Nat. Nat, thank you so much for being with us all the way through.
No problem. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. We'll see you soon.